Imagine getting isekai'd into a fantasy world. Not as a hero, not as a chosen one, but as the guy who has to outsmart entire kingdoms just to keep his family alive. Sasai doesn't have cheat-level stats. He doesn't have some broken skill that solves everything. What he has is 3 spirits, a little sister who might be scarier than any demon lord, and a plan so reckless that if it fails, he's asking his own family to disown him. This is Game of Familia. And trust me, this big brother goes harder than you think.
This is about a family. Sasai, normal guy, 16. His stepmom, Kanai, 28, CEO/homemaker. His younger sister, Manako, 17, karate champion. And his youngest sister, Hinana, 12, genius, who gets summoned to another world. They get recruited into a Familia system. Kane becomes the leader, and they're fighting undead monsters called Dead Mells. There's a summoner named Solsu who died, taking the technique to send them home with her. Things escalate fast with spirit pacts, battle formations, and a desperate situation. This is the story of a guy who got isekai'd with his entire family, and he's the weakest one there. Sasai Hatsushima is 16 years old and completely, painfully average. His stepmom Kane runs a 100-person company and still cooks dinner every night. His younger sister Manako is a 5-time national karate champion who looks like a delinquent but fights for justice. And his baby sister Hinana is 12, already admitted to a university overseas, and smarter than everyone in the room combined. Then there's Sasai. Normal human, that's literally his title. They never listen to him. One second they're eating dinner. The next, the whole dining table gets transported to a strange world. Massive trees, unfamiliar fruit, stone structures everywhere. The girls immediately start exploring while Sasai is standing there like, hey, maybe we shouldn't just wander around. They completely ignore him. Classic. But this isn't some chill fantasy vacation. They stumble into a war zone, a stronghold under siege from monsters called Dead Mells, undead creatures swarming the walls, the barriers barely holding. Soldiers are getting pushed back. And then Sasai hears a voice begging them to run. This place is outside the barrier. This is monster territory. A beast folk girl spots them and panics. 4 people total, and they just appeared out of nowhere. But when she sees Kane, Manako, and Hinana step forward, something changes. These 3 girls start glowing with power, a bright light, the kind of energy that makes a veteran soldier stop mid-fight and stare. This beast folk girl whispers to herself, if it's them, they might actually be able to win. A strong Familia. Kane doesn't hesitate. She takes command like she's been doing this her whole life. Shield Squad, get in formation. White Mage, enhancement magic now. Swordsman Squad, draw your blades. The soldiers fall in line immediately. Nobody questions her. Manako charges into the horde throwing punches that crack bone. Hinana's already analyzing the battlefield. And Sasai? Sasai is trying not to die. They survive the wave, barely. The barrier activates and everyone retreats inside. But then comes the real gut punch. The person who summoned them, a woman named Solsu, is dead. And the technique to send them back to their world, it died with her. There's no going home. And it gets worse. The beast folk explain that they were forced into this summoning from the beginning. The price to make a pact with spirits isn't small, and whatever Solsu paid cost her everything. These people are desperate. The Dead Mells keep multiplying. The Stronghold's barrier is hitting its limit. And Sasai's family, they're the last hope. The soldiers want answers. What exactly do you expect from us? What are we fighting? Let Sasai go. He's clearly not a fighter. Kane steps in before things get ugly. She tells them to calm down, asks for details. The beast folk lay it out. The Familia system requires roles. An elite swordsman at the center, supported by a shield guardian with an earth spirit pact, a black mage with a fire spirit pact, and a white mage with a water spirit pact. 4 roles, 4 people. But here's the catch. To form the Familia, 3 of the 4 members have to sacrifice something, the most precious parts of themselves, and Kane has to decide who fills which role. She's devastated. Back in their room, Sasai finds her sitting alone in the dark. She can't pick. She refuses to just assign her family to roles that might destroy them. Without Solsu, without any guidance, how can she make this call? Sasai can always tell when she's troubled. He sits with her and says it straight. You'll make it. Don't worry, because I'll be here to support you. She looks at him, really looks at him, and tells him to call her by her name, not Mom. In that moment, something breaks in her composure. She's crying. She says she thinks everything will turn out fine, but it's not without risk. Nothing would happen to him, right? She pulls herself together, wipes her eyes, and makes the call. All 3 of them, Kane, Manako, and Hinana, will become the elite swordsmen together. They'll have their one holy silver sword reforged into 3 smaller blades to balance the Familia's roles. The beast folk are stunned. That sword was too big for any one of them anyway, so splitting it just makes sense. But without balance between the Familia's roles, fighting will be nearly impossible. Kane doesn't care. She has an idea. And the thing nobody's saying out loud? The price of the spirit pacts. Whatever these 3 girls are about to give up, whatever the most precious parts of themselves actually means, Sasai can't protect them from it. He's a normal human in a world of monsters and magic, watching the 3 strongest women he knows walk toward a sacrifice he can't even understand yet.
What exactly does the pact take from them? And what happens to the only normal person in a family of superhumans when the real fight begins?
Kane made her decision. The familiar roles are set, and now the real fight begins. The barrier is cracking. Dead Mells are pouring through the walls, and Kanae doesn't flinch. She screams the order. Everyone, charge! The 3 girls rush into battle with their reforged holy silver swords, and what happens next shocks everyone watching. Kanae is barking commands mid-combat like she was born for war. Manako, take the right flank. Hinata, protect the injured. This is their first time on a real battlefield, and she's already reading enemy formations in real time. Manako tears through the Dead Mel's bare-knuckle style before switching to her blade. Nothing even gets close to touching her. And Hinata? The 12-year-old genius is analyzing enemy movement patterns while casting support magic. The smaller Dead Mells are dumb, all commanded by a medium-sized one, and she figured that out in seconds. But it's Manako who steals the show. Mid-fight, her sword breaks. Just shatters. Everyone gasps, but Manako doesn't even blink. She drops the broken blade, steps forward, and starts swinging with her fists. She's a 5-time national karate champion. She doesn't need a sword. Her opponent concedes on the spot. The crowd of soldiers can't believe what they just saw. An amazing comeback victory. They're begging her to teach them that technique. The battle ends. Victory. The soldiers are stunned. These people from another world just demolished a strong battalion of Dead Mells. It's being called a milestone for the entire continent of Titania. That night, there's a feast. Food, drinks, cheering. The locals are treating Sasai's family like saviors. But Sasai can't celebrate. He's standing on the ramparts alone, staring north. That's where the Dead Mells came from, and the beastfolk Black Mage, a young girl with an eye patch, finds him up there. She wants to talk. She tells him she's never seen anyone as strong as his family. The fire spirit she made a pact with. It's only the 8th rank, Yachimatagi. The strongest Black Mage in history only reached the 3rd rank, File Bird. But Sasai's family seems to have power across all roles. Black Mage, White Mage, Shield Guardian, all at once. She needs to know, what did they pay to get that strong? Because in this world, the stronger the spirit, the higher the price. Sasai dodges the question. He asks her something instead. Can they totally wipe the Dead Mells off this land? She pauses. That changes the subject real quick. Meanwhile, Sasai's been thinking. He's been watching his family shine. Back in their old world, everyone was naturally drawn to them. Kanae running her company with 100 employees under her, Manako winning championships, Hinata getting admitted to overseas universities at age 12. They all shine so bright. And the spirits? They noticed too. Becoming savior gods isn't something impossible for these 3 at all. But when the spirits ask Sasai what he would become, his answer is quiet and immediate. Their shadow, doing what they cannot, filling in their weaknesses, because even back home, that's all he ever was. The normal guy standing behind 3 extraordinary women. Now here's where Sasai does something nobody expected. He goes to the great spirits himself, alone. 3 ancient beings, a massive armored knight, a serpentine water creature, and a ferocious beast, all sitting underground, bored out of their minds. They've been free for ages, worshipped by everyone but chained to nothing, and they have zero interest in making a pact with some random human. Sasai introduces himself. The spirits aren't impressed. It's been 600 years since someone from another world came before them, and they only agreed to meet him to kill time. They make it clear, meeting him doesn't mean they'll make a pact. But Sasai doesn't beg. He doesn't plead. He looks the great spirits dead in the eye and calls them out. While people on the surface are fighting for their lives, you guys are hiding down here whining about how free and bored you are. You're supposed to be great spirits? You're loafers. The spirits are furious. Do you know who you're talking to? Do you really expect us to become part of a human? That's disgraceful. Sasai doesn't back down. He flips the script. So you mean you can turn into a part of me and go to the surface? So there is a way for you to help. You just said you're bored. Make a pact with me, and you'll never be bored again. The spirits laugh. Actually laugh. This kid is interesting, but what can a normal human with no disposition really offer them? Sasai admits it. He has no special ability. He's average in every way, but he's still useful to them. And the price? They ask what he's willing to pay. Sasai remembers Solsu, the girl who sacrificed herself to protect his family when they first arrived. In that moment, he realized he couldn't live a shallow life anymore. He tells the spirits he's willing to trade everything that belongs to him. Everything except his most valuable thing, his family. The spirits are stunned. Are you aware of what you just said? Do you understand what happens when you trade everything? This isn't even your world. Why would you pay such a price? Because a girl died to bring them here, because his family is fighting on the front lines, because he believed in their greatness, and that's why he came. One spirit grins. Strong as they are, they can't kill a guy from another world like him. He figured out their weakness. They're immortal, bored, and they can't resist someone who genuinely doesn't fear them. The pact is made. 3 spirits fuse with Sasae's body at once. Melty Ro becomes his left eye to see this world. Aqua Share becomes his blood to listen to this world's call. Ken Ruga becomes half his body to feel this world. A normal human just single-handedly made a pact with all 3 great spirits, something that's never been done before. And Kane catches him sneaking back afterward with the beast folk girl at night. She is not happy. Sasei-kun, what are you doing? Sneaking out with a young girl? He panics. No, that's not what this is. But Kane's terrifying glare says she doesn't believe him for a second. The next morning, the real training begins. The goal? Turn Kane, Manako, and Hinata into savior gods. Sasei watches them train with the soldiers, and they're all on the right track. The spirits confirmed it. If they want to become gods, they have to achieve something great. And for these 3, that's easy. But for Sasai, the price of his pact is just starting to make itself known. He traded everything except his family, his body, his future, his very existence in this world. All of it belongs to the spirits now, and whatever that means hasn't fully hit yet. What exactly did Sasai lose? What does it mean when 3 ancient spirits share your body? And with the dead Mells still multiplying to the north, how long before the next wave breaks through? The family Senki has officially begun, and the only normal human on the team might just be the one who sacrificed the most. Turns out winning battles doesn't fix everything. To keep fighting the dead Mells, the stronghold of Toride needs money and supplies, and the people funding them, investors, rich, powerful people from other kingdoms. The problem is, the war against the dead Mells isn't even officially announced to the rest of the world. The troops stationed at Toride are gathered from defeated kingdoms, people nobody else cares about. Morale is in the gutter because the soldiers aren't united. The strong dominate the weak, even here. And their main investor? A disgusting lizardman nobleman named Sugar, who treats the beastfolk women like his personal entertainment. He's got the supply commander, a proud beastfolk woman, serving him drinks and playing hostess during what should be wartime. She asks him to approve the deal to increase their supplies and grants. His response? Since when do you have the right to ask me for a favor? You're from a defeated kingdom. Thanks to whom were you spared from being executed? He's dangling their survival over their heads like a toy. Sasai walks in on this whole scene and immediately reads the room. The enemies are strong, the troops aren't united, and this creep is exploiting everyone. He asks the beastfolk girl, why do they even need investors to fight the enemies of this whole world? She explains it's complicated. The war isn't publicly recognized. As long as the powerful kingdoms keep pretending the dead Mel threat doesn't exist, places like Toride get no official support. Then Sugar notices Manako, a girl from another world. He's never had one of those before. He invites her somewhere private, and things get real uncomfortable real fast. But Manako's family isn't about to let that slide. Back at their quarters, Manako tells everyone what happened. Sasai is furious. His family's reaction? Exactly what you'd expect from people who don't take disrespect from anyone. Manako's the same in any world. Just like when she fought a street gang leader to save a friend back home. She walked right into a bad situation alone. But Sasai says this time it's not that simple. That night, Manako finds Sasai on the ramparts. She calls him out. You always want to sacrifice yourself for others. Sasai says that's because it's his responsibility. Everyone appreciates him for it. Helping others isn't bad. But Manako pushes harder. She knows he's planning to go see Sugar. She tells him he doesn't have to do what that guy said. They'll be in serious trouble if he does. Sasai smiles. He tells her he'll go in her place. Manako sees that face and knows. Something is about to happen. The bad girl version of her big sister is about to get on stage. Sasai goes to confront Sugar alone. The lizard man is cocky, taunting him, rude, disrespectful. He cuts off supplies to Toride entirely out of spite. But Sasai doesn't flinch. He shows Sugar a clay doll he made, a perfect replica of Sugar himself, and gives him 2 options. Option 1, have the supplies delivered immediately. Option 2, die here mysteriously, and Sasae will create a doll version of him to order the deliveries instead.
Sugar panics. That's impossible. Your magic would be detected. There are people stronger than you. But Sasae's bluffing skills are on another level. The doll was a fake, just a trick. But the threat worked. Sugar caved.
And Sasei wasn't done. He took what he learned from Sugar about Toride's political weaknesses and went straight to the capital, the kingdom of Saifan. He walked into the throne room, stood before King Zayal Saifan himself, and introduced himself, Hatsushima Sasai, from another world, and he has a favor to ask.
But here's the kicker. Sasai didn't just politely request reinforcements. He snatched a woman that the king was in love with and eloped with her. Then he threatened the king, if you want her back, send reinforcement troops to Toride. The soldiers at the stronghold couldn't believe it, all because of Hatsushima Sasai's threat. They thought people from another world were all cowards.
The truth was messier. The incident reached the king, Sugar exaggerated the story, and now Sasai's whole family was being treated as criminals. Minako was furious. Regardless of who threatened who, she was the one who punched Sugar. But the Beast Folk commander apologized too. She admitted she'd been wrong for never fighting back against Sugar's abuse all this time. Still, the situation was dire. If the kingdom's army, the strongest in the land, came after them, they'd be finished. But asking for that army's help was exactly the point. Sasei smirked. Don't worry, it seems like we can move on to the next strategy. His late dad used to say, for normal people like us to survive, we have to make use of everything we have. And that's exactly what Sasae's been doing. He's just a normal guy, no magic disposition, no combat skills. But he's got the best judgment of people of anyone in this world, and he's not afraid to use every dirty trick in the book if it means protecting his family. Meanwhile, the spirits inside him are already proving useful. Sasai's unknowingly created a new type of magic, brick dolls. Scout golems that he can control remotely. The spirits are impressed. He made something new without even realizing it. But the Dead Mells found the scouts. They're getting closer to Toride. Then it hits. The Dead Mells besiege Toride completely. There's no way out. Kanai takes command again. All Familias get ready. Follow my orders. The battle is massive. Kane, Manako, and Hinana are fighting without Sasai by their side for the first time. The soldiers are stepping up to assist in his place. Manako's pushing to the front to compensate. Hinana's being warned not to overuse her power, but the strategies aren't good enough for this many enemies. Kane's screaming, "We'll all be dead if this goes on." And then Hinana screams. She's hit. The 12-year-old genius goes down. The commander grits her teeth. If they were at peace, she'd have plenty of complaints for Sasai. But they're at war now. Fine, just leave it until after they survive this. And somewhere between the capital and the battlefield, Sasai is racing back because his family is fighting for their lives, and the one person who was supposed to be their shadow, the one who fills in their weaknesses, isn't there.
The Dead Mells are closing in. Hinana is down. And the reinforcements Sasai gambled everything to get? They haven't arrived yet.
Did his plan work? Or did the normal human just bet his family's lives on a bluff that's about to collapse? And this is where the real war begins. The Dead Mells pour over the northern walls like a flood. Twisted, monstrous things with scales and fangs, more than anyone anticipated. Soldiers are screaming, formations are breaking, and even the hardened warriors of Seifan are losing ground. There are just too many, but then someone spots it. The big one, lurking behind the enemy lines, commanding the horde, and the call goes out. If they can take that thing down, maybe they have a shot. That's when Sasei stops holding back. He grips his weapon, charges straight into the swarm, and unleashes a move that splits the battlefield in half. Great Lance Charge, one strike, and everything in his path just ceases to exist. The king of Saifan watches this happen with his jaw on the floor. He'd assumed Sasai and the others were just here to pressure him politically, a power play from the other kingdoms. But no, they're actually fighting, actually bleeding for his people. And for the first time, the king's pride cracks just enough to let the truth in. See, the Saifan kingdom sits at the northernmost edge of the world. They've been preparing for the Dead Mells their entire lives. 600 years ago, the last time these creatures emerged, every race and nation united to push them back. But 600 years is a long time. Long enough for the southern kingdoms to forget. Long enough for old alliances to rot. When Saifan tried to warn everyone, tried to rally support, nobody listened. Nobody came. And that bitterness, it runs deep. So when this woman from another world stands there and says the Dead Mells are everyone's common enemy, the king's general loses it, calls them outsiders, says they don't understand anything, calls them lazy bums who only showed up because they were forced to. But he's wrong, and deep down he knows it, because Sasai didn't come here to make a point. He came here to fight. and the proof is standing right in front of them, covered in monster blood, already planning his next move. But here's the thing about Sasai. He's not just thinking about this battle, he's thinking 3 steps ahead, and what he's planning next is something he might not come back from. Before marching to the capital, he pulls Hinata aside, just the 2 of them, and the tone shifts completely.
He tells her he has to go do something crazy, something that'll get his hands dirty. If it works, no problem. Everyone's happy. But if it doesn't work,
he asks her to do something that no big brother should ever have to ask his little sister. He wants her to cut him loose. If he fails, he says, just tell everyone he's always been a terrible person, that the family wanted to disown him a long time ago, because if he goes down, he refuses to drag his sisters and his mother down with him. The sins of the father are already heavy enough. He won't add to that weight. And then he says something that hits different. He tells Hinata that she's the only one who can look at him, really look at him, the son of a man like their father, and judge him coldly, objectively, without the rose-tinted glasses that family usually wears. He's trusting her with the worst-case scenario because he believes she's strong enough to make that call.
Hinata just stares at him, and you can see it in her eyes. She's not okay with any of this, but she doesn't argue, she doesn't cry, she just takes it in. And then we snap back to the battlefield. The enemy numbers have blown past every calculation. The plan accounted for thousands, but 20,000 deadmels? That wasn't in anyone's playbook. Sasai's battered, his body screaming at him to stop, but stopping means his cute little sister is going to give him that look. And honestly, that scares him more than any monster. So he does something nobody's ever seen before. Magic synthesis!
He calls out to all 3 of his contracted spirits at once. Kenruga summons a boulder the size of a building. Melty Row sets the entire thing on fire. And Aquasphere calls down thunder from the sky to supercharge it. 3 elements, fused into one attack, channeled through a single human body that was absolutely not built to handle this kind of power. He tells them not to hold back. Don't worry about what his body can take. Just hit them with everything. And they do. The result? 20,000 invading troops from Daba, wiped out. Instantly, the news spreads like wildfire. The soldiers can't believe it. The commanders can't believe it. Nobody can believe it, except one person. Hinata adjusts her glasses, and that tiny smirk crosses her face. The same girl who sat through her brother's worst-case confession without flinching. The same girl who carried the weight of his darkest request without breaking. She never doubted him, not for a second. Told ya.